My daughter-in-law posted a video on social media calling me trailer trash while I was flatlining in surgery. I am not kidding. It was mid-September 2024. I was in room 314 at Greenfield General Hospital, waking up from a heart procedure that nearly ended my life. My son, Liam, was pacing the hallway, worried sick, and there was Tiffany, my daughter-in-law, sitting in the corner with her top-of-the-line smartphone, filming herself. "Day 3 of freedom from the farm," she whispered to her camera. "Arthur is finally unconscious, so we can talk about upgrading our lives." I kept my eyes closed. Let her think I couldn't hear. She had no idea what she had just triggered. What she didn't know about our worthless farm was about to change everything for her and her entire family. Before I tell you how this ends, you need to understand how it started. Tiffany Miller Bennett married my son 3 years ago. From day one, she treated our family farm like a contagious disease. Our place sits on 200 acres in Greenfield, Iowa, about 45 minutes from the city. It has been in the Bennett family since 1924. The red barn is older than most buildings in town. The farmhouse was built in 1952, the same year I was born. Nothing fancy, but it is home. Tiffany saw it differently. "This isn't a home," she told Liam after their first overnight visit. "It's a poverty museum." She came from what she called old money. Her parents, Robert and Linda Miller, used to own a vineyard in Napa Valley. Used to being the operative phrase. They lost everything in the 2008 crash, but Tiffany never stopped acting like royalty. She drove an expensive luxury SUV, carried a $12,000 designer handbag, and wore clothes that cost more than most people's monthly mortgage. Meanwhile, I drove a 1987 Ford F-150 worth maybe $8,000 on a good day. I wore canvas work jackets that cost $90 each and lasted 20 years. My idea of fancy was dinner at the local diner where coffee was still cheap. The social media campaign started small. Instagram stories about visiting the countryside, then videos about rural life adventures, always with that condescending smile like she was documenting a zoo exhibit. "My father-in-law still uses a rotary phone," she giggled to her followers on this channel, "literally from the Stone Age." The comments ate it up. "Girl, you're slumming it. How do you survive?" 6 months ago, the tone shifted. "Generational poverty is real, y'all," she posted, filming our kitchen with its vintage appliances. "Some families just accept being left behind." Her follower count exploded, 47,000 people watching her mock our life. Brand partnerships started rolling in, skincare companies, fashion brands. Everyone wanted to sponsor the authentic influencer showing real America. "This is my content goldmine," she told Liam one night, thinking I couldn't hear from the living room. "Poor farm life is so hot right now." Liam tried defending us. "Dad, build something here, Tiff. This farm means everything to him." "Built what?" she laughed. "A monument to refusing progress? Your dad is stuck in 1950 and he's trying to drag us down with him." But she was building quite the following with her farm-shaming content. Each video was more brutal than the last. The wooden kitchen table handmade by my grandfather became furniture poverty. My collection of farming magazines became hoarding behavior. Our family photos on the mantle became a shrine to failure. The breaking point came in August. Tiffany filmed herself in our living room speaking directly to the camera. "I've been documenting generational poverty for months now," she said, panning across our furniture. "This is what happens when families refuse to evolve. Look at this place. Everything is falling apart. The carpet is from 1985. The couch has permanent body impressions. This isn't humble living, it's giving up." She zoomed in on my father's purple heart displayed in a simple frame on the bookshelf. "Even their war memorabilia is bargain basement," she smirked. "My followers deserve to see authentic wealth, not this hillbilly cosplay." 2.3 million views. The comment section exploded. Local news picked it up. "Iowa farm family becomes unlikely social media stars." That's when I knew she was planning something bigger, something that would change our lives forever. But she had no idea I was already 3 steps ahead. The cruelest conversation happened on September 18th, 3 days after my surgery. I was lying in that hospital bed, machines beeping around me, when my phone rang. Tiffany's voice was crystal clear. She thought I was unconscious. "Hi, this is Tiffany Bennett calling about the property listing we discussed." Property listing. My blood pressure monitor started climbing. Yes, the 200-acre farm on Meadow Lane. My father-in-law is incapacitated, heart surgery complications. We need to move quickly while he can't interfere. I grabbed my phone from the bedside table, hit record, and kept my eyes closed. The asking price. Well, the appraiser said $950,000 for the whole package: land, house, outbuildings. I know it seems low, but honestly, this place represents everything backward about America. Old farmers hoarding land while young families struggle. The realtor must have asked about me specifically. Arthur Bennett? He's 68, no business sense whatsoever. Been farming the same plots for 40 years like it's still 1950. No modernization, no efficiency. The man still handwrites his accounting in ledger books. Can you believe that? She was pacing now. I could hear her heels clicking on the hospital floor. Listen, between you and me, I'm doing society a favor getting this developed. The town needs progress, not some stubborn old man's dirt farming museum. My husband is too sentimental to see it, but Arthur is basically holding back the entire community. She paused. The timing is perfect. Arthur will be in recovery for weeks, maybe months, and honestly, at his age, with his health problems, he might not be making decisions much longer anyway. His son Liam has legal power of attorney. I just need to convince him that selling is the compassionate choice. My heart rate spiked. The nurses would be wondering why. I've been working on Liam, showing him what we could do with nearly $1 million. A nice house in the city, maybe even somewhere civilized like Omaha, somewhere with culture. She paused and I heard her typing on her phone. You know what the funniest part is? Arthur thinks he's some kind of successful businessman. The man drives a truck older than my little sister, wears the same 3 flannel shirts year-round, lives like he's afraid to spend a dime. If that's success, I'll take failure any day. Now she was getting animated. I married into this family thinking there was hidden wealth somewhere. You know how farmers are supposed to be land rich. Well, turns out some farmers are just land poor, really, really poor. Arthur has maybe $50,000 in the bank on a good day. No investments, no retirement fund worth mentioning, just dirt. Hundreds of acres of dirt. Another pause. My parents think I'm crazy for staying this long. They're right. I've got followers now, brand partnerships, real opportunities, but I can't build an influencer career from a cornfield in nowhere, Iowa. This place represents everything I'm trying to escape. The realtor said something about paperwork. Liam will sign. He has to. I've shown him the numbers. We're bleeding money every month keeping this place running. Property taxes, equipment maintenance, seed costs. It's like pouring money into a black hole. And for what? So Arthur can pretend he's still relevant? She was walking again, probably back toward my room. The best part, once we sell, we can finally live like adults. No more pretending to respect his farming wisdom, no more family dinners in that depressing kitchen, no more listening to stories about the good old days when corn was king. One final insult for the road. You want to know the truth? Arthur Bennett is everything wrong with rural America. Stubborn, backwards, and too proud to admit the world passed him by. This sale isn't just good business, it's mercy for him and for us. The call ended. Tiffany walked back into my room, sat down, and started scrolling through her phone like nothing happened. Only she knew who she was really talking about. I kept that recording safe. Every word documented, every insult preserved, because Tiffany Miller Bennett had no idea she just declared war on the wrong farmer. I had exactly 3 days to decide how this would end. The doctor said I'd be discharged on September 21st. The the realtors scheduled a property walkthrough on September 22nd. Liam was wavering, caught between his wife's pressure and his own doubts. Tiffany was already posting videos on this channel about exciting life changes coming soon. I could have stopped it immediately, sat up in that hospital bed, called my lawyer, shut down the whole operation, but that would have been too easy, too simple. Tiffany thought she was dealing with a confused old farmer who kept his money under the mattress. She had no idea what 30 decades of quiet investment had built. No idea that her worthless dirt farm was headquarters to something much bigger. Let me tell you what she didn't know. In 1987, I bought my first property outside the family farm, a foreclosed house in town for $12,000. Fixed it up, rented it out, used that income to buy another house, then another. By 1995, I owned 17 rental properties across 3 counties, but real estate was just the beginning. That same year, I started Bennett Organic Farms LLC. Not just growing corn and soybeans like every other farmer in Iowa. Organic produce, specialty crops, direct contracts with grocery chains. Whole Foods has been buying from us since 2003. $285,000 in monthly revenue. That is what those poor dirt fields generate every month and have for the past 15 years. The rental properties? 23 of them now, worth $14.2 million total. Monthly rent income? $67,000. The organic farming operation is valued at $38 million according to our last business assessment. Tiffany was trying to sell a $950,000 farm. She was actually trying to sell a $52 million agricultural empire. But here is the part that would destroy her. 3 years ago, when her parents lost their vineyard and needed work, who do you think quietly hired them? Robert Miller, groundskeeper at Pinecrest Country Club, $58,000 annual salary. Linda Miller, catering manager at the same club, $44,000 annual salary. They never knew their employer. All hiring went through management companies. All paychecks came from corporate accounts. But every dollar of their income for the past 3 years came from Arthur Bennett's businesses. The country club itself? I bought it in 2019 when the previous owners defaulted on their loan, $3.2 million purchase price. Tiffany's parents work for me. They just don't know it. Remember Tiffany's sister, the one teaching at Oakwood Academy, the private school where Tiffany brags about her family's education connections? I own 51% of the school board, have since 2021. Her grandmother's assisted living facility, funded through the Bennett Family Foundation, it has been for 4 years. Even the apartment complex where Tiffany and Liam live, Bennett Properties LLC bought it last year. For 3 years, Tiffany's entire family has been surviving on my money while she made videos mocking my poverty. But I wasn't ready to reveal any of this yet. Strategic patience, that is what my father taught me. Let your enemies defeat themselves, Arthur. Then step aside and watch them fall. So I made my decision. I would let Tiffany continue her campaign, let her dig deeper. Let her reveal exactly who she was to the whole world. Then, when she felt most confident, most secure in her victory, I would show her what real power looked like. I called my lawyer, Catherine, from the hospital bed. Catherine, I need you to document everything, every social media post, every conversation, every legal document they try to file. I want a complete record. Are you planning to contest the sale? I'm planning to teach someone a lesson about respect. Next, I called my accountant, Sarah. Sarah, I need a full portfolio review. Every property, every business, every investment. I want documentation showing exactly how much the Bennett family is worth. Is this for estate planning? It's for education. Finally, I called the management company that runs Pinecrest Country Club. This is Arthur Bennett. I need you to schedule performance reviews for Robert and Linda Miller. Nothing negative, just standard evaluation procedures, and I want it done publicly during the monthly staff meeting. Liam walked into my room just as I hung up. Dad, how are you feeling? Better than I have in years, son. Much better. Stephanie, Tiffany has been talking about some big changes, maybe selling the farm, moving closer to the city. I looked at my boy, 25 years old, good heart, but he'd never learned to see past people's masks. Liam, do you trust your wife's judgment about our family's worth? He shifted uncomfortably. I trust her intentions, Dad. Intentions don't pay bills, son. Results do. I had exactly one more day to finish my preparations, one more day before Tiffany discovered what happens when you declare war on the wrong farmer. The clock was ticking, and I was ready. On September 22nd, the day Tiffany planned to tour our farm with potential buyers, I was discharged. I played the part of a weak, confused old man who needed help walking to the car. James fussed over me. Tiffany barely looked up from her phone. "Take it easy today, Dad," Liam said. "The realtor is coming by around 2 p.m., but you don't need to be involved. Just rest." "I'll be fine, son. Might make a few phone calls, check on some old friends." Tiffany finally glanced over. "Try not to embarrass us in front of the realtor, okay? This is important." "I understand completely." What she didn't understand was that my phone calls were about to turn her world upside down. First call went to Marcus Thorne, my property manager at Pinecrest. "Marcus, I need to discuss some staffing concerns regarding Robert and Linda Miller. I want their reviews conducted at next week's staff meeting. Full transparency." "Absolutely, sir. Should I mention any specific performance standards?" "Just remind everyone that discretion and loyalty are core values here. Employees who respect the institution will always have a place. Those who don't, well, we have policies for that." Second call went to Sarah, my accountant. "I need you to review the Bennett Foundation's charitable giving commitments, specifically the Sunset Manor account for Margaret Miller." "Are you considering changes?" "Just ensuring all beneficiary families still meet our criteria. If beneficiary families demonstrate ingratitude or disrespect toward donors, funding could be redirected." Third call was to my business attorney. "Catherine, I want to review our lease agreements for the Willowbrook Apartments, Unit 23B. Recent tenant activity may constitute grounds for review, specifically social media attacks on community members." By noon, the machinery was in motion. While Tiffany gave her realtor tour, pointing out every problem with our primitive farm, her parents received calls about public performance reviews. Her grandmother's care home received a letter about a funding reassessment. That evening, Robert and Linda compared their strange phone calls over dinner. "Something is happening. Performance reviews aren't usually public." Neither connected these events to their daughter's social media campaign. The next morning, Liam found me in the barn reviewing property documents. "Dad, we need to talk. It's about Tiffany, about the farm sale. She's been getting some strange reactions online. People are asking questions about our finances, like how we afford her car if we're so broke." I nodded. Smart people, those online folks. "She said you're too proud to admit we need help. But Dad, if we're so poor, how come you never ask me for money?" "Maybe I don't need help." "Look at this place, Dad. Old equipment, the roof. If you had money, wouldn't you fix these things?" I opened my desk drawer. "Liam, what would you say if I told you that those broken fences are choices, not necessities?" I handed him a bank statement. Bennett Organic Farms, LLC. Balance, $847,382. Liam stared. "Dad, what is this?" "Monthly operating account. That's after expenses." I handed him another statement. Bennett Properties, LLC. Balance, $523,995. Liam's hands were shaking. "I don't understand. Why do we live like we're poor?" "Because living simply isn't the same as being poor, son. Your mother, God rest her soul, taught me that. Flashy wealth makes you a target. Quiet wealth keeps you safe." I handed him the deed to Pinecrest Country Club. "Read the owner's name." "Arthur Bennett." "Dad, you own the country club, so Robert and Linda work for you?" "They have for 3 years. They just don't know it." Liam stood up, pacing. This is insane. Tiffany has been making videos about how poor we are. Her parents have been feeling sorry for us, and the whole time her family has been living on my money. Does she know? Not yet, but she's about to learn. Dad, she's my wife, but what she's been doing. Liam, you have to choose what kind of man you want to be. The kind who stands up for his family or the kind who lets them be mocked. I'm with you, Dad, all the way. October 5th, Tiffany posted a video titled Escaping Generational Poverty. It showed her in our poverty museum wearing a $2,400 sweater. She called my ledger books learned helplessness. She called me toxic. I'm not going to let my future children inherit this limitation, she said to the camera. So yes, we're selling the farm. I watched it with Liam. She just gave me exactly what I needed, I said. The comments were already turning against her. People were noticing the contradictions. The charity gala is in 1 week, I told Liam. Perfect timing. She'll be riding high, thinking she's untouchable. That's when we strike. October 12th, Pinecrest Country Club Annual Charity Gala, a black tie event. Tiffany spent thousands on a dress and makeup, documenting it all for this channel. Finally attending a classy event where I belong, she captioned it. I arrived in my old pickup truck wearing a rented tuxedo. I wanted to make an entrance. Inside, Tiffany was working the room. The club president, Richard Taylor, took the podium. Tonight, we acknowledge our most generous supporter, the platinum sponsor with a donation of $100,000, the Bennett Family Foundation. Tiffany looked confused. As has been our tradition for 6 years, Mr. Arthur Bennett will now address the gathering. I walked to the podium. The room went silent. Tiffany froze. Good evening. Some of you may have seen social media content recently about rural poverty. My daughter-in-law has been quite vocal about these issues. I projected the first document on the screen, the deed to the country club. I mention this because several employees may not realize who signs their paychecks. I held up Robert and Linda's contracts. Excellent employees, combined income entirely from companies I own. Next, the foundation documents showing I paid for her grandmother's care. Unfortunately, I said, my voice steady, some recipients of our generosity have chosen to mock that generosity. I put her videos on the big screen, the insults, the trailer trash comments. The room gasped. The poor farmer trying to sell his worthless property actually owns a $52 million agricultural empire, I announced, showing the real numbers. Real wealth doesn't need announcements. It just works quietly. I turned to Tiffany's table. Effective immediately, the Bennett Family Foundation is reassessing all commitments. Employment for Robert and Linda Miller is terminated effective Monday. Grandmother Margaret's funding ends October 31st. The apartment lease is voided. Tiffany was sobbing. Her parents looked like they had been shot. This is what happens when performed wealth meets authentic wealth, when social media followers try to compete with actual financial power. I walked off stage to a standing ovation. Tiffany begged me afterward. I didn't know. I'll delete everything. You didn't know because you never asked. You just judged. Liam looked at her with disgust. Steph, Tiffany, you did this. He gave your family everything, and you mocked him for sport. The consequences were swift. Her parents lost their jobs. Her grandmother was moved to a state facility. They lost their apartment. Tiffany's social media career imploded as the truth came out. Liam came to see me a few days later. She wants to try counseling, says she can change. People can change, son, but they have to want to for the right reasons. What about her parents? I handed him a card. Tell Robert to call me next week. I might know someone who needs a groundskeeper, someone who appreciates loyalty. Punish the behavior, not the innocent. Liam smiled. Thanks, Dad. I sat in my barn, surrounded by 40 years of memories. Tiffany was right about one thing. Generational wealth is real, but it's not about money. It's about character. And character, unlike social media followers, cannot be bought.